I feel like sometimes we spend too much time looking at all these products and all these things when we really should be teaching the technique. I think that's the biggest
100% agree.
problem with the new. You get young people in working in these pizza shops and they don't have the techniques down pat and don't do the right thing, and that to me is a bigger problem than if you use a PCP tomato or a Stanislaus tomato or a Escalon, whoever. The average American won't be able to tell. Don't go to dinner with me because I pull apart every single item in the pizza. But the average American doesn't care. They want consistent food more than they want great food. Teaching the technique, I think, is more important than anything.
Where in Michigan are you from?
So I grew up in Northwest Ohio.
Okay.
In Lima, and then I moved to Ann Arbor.
Okay.
So I lived in Ann Arbor. Yeah.
You got it really in your blood then.
Yeah. I used to live less than a mile from the big house. So it was a good time. For sure.
That's like I was just telling my wife the other day, like I have boys and I love taking them out to events, but we haven't had a college football experience.
Yeah.
And here in Tampa, we have USF, but they play at Raymond James, and it's like, it's not the same as going to going to the big house or going to the shoe or even going up to Gainesville. It's a totally different experience. So I'm looking forward to taking my boys up for a college.
Yeah. College, to me, college football is very unique in its fandom. Like it is 100% authentic fanatic. It's not like fly by night fan. It is fanatic. Like everybody's more vested, it seems like, in their college football team. And the debate between the SEC and the Big Ten over the past few years has been increasing. So it's been a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, I bet, man. And doing a show around sports is just fun too. I'll be checking it out. Well, I hit start just because I like to kind of soft roll into it. Yeah. But tell us who you are. And first off, thank you for taking the time to come, take time out of your day to talk to me about pizza or whatever we're going to get into. Really appreciate that. It means a lot when people spend their time with me. So thank you for that.
No, thanks for having me.
Tell us who you are.
So, man, athlete, ex-athlete, obviously. I aged out of that. But just food got in my blood early, man. 15 years old, working as a dishwasher, and fast forward, and I've done about every job you could think of. My first cook job was at a Sbarro, believe it or not, in the pizza business.
Sbarro's.
Yeah, in the mall, man, slinging pies. It's funny because then I don't know what they do now, but then they made all the dough from scratch and all the stuff. That's where I first learned how to do it. My grandmother on my mom's side had a diner that she owned, and I grew up as a little kid. I helped her make fresh made pasta and dry the noodles and do all that kind of stuff. It was just a big part of what I was doing and who I was. Went to college, graduated with my bachelor's degree, and couldn't figure out what I wanted to do. And I was like, I like this business, man. So I went into the restaurant business and never looked back, and ended up owning a couple places. At that point, when I went to ownership, I went more bar and grill, but I still had pizza on the menu, and I always made fresh dough, always had deck ovens. I always
where were you at that point?
I lived in Michigan, and then I moved to Pittsburgh in 2011 and opened a place across from PNC Park. But we had places outside of Detroit and Pittsburgh.
In the Midwest, and I don't know, maybe it's like this everywhere, but pizza and bar goes very well together.
Yeah.
Like some of my favorite places, and I'm growing up in Michigan, were pizza from bars. Art's Bar in Lansing, Corey's Bar in Lansing. Like, these were some of my favorite places.
Yeah. It's the pub scene. It's like a pizza pub and whatever. So it was always a great seller, and I still had it in my blood. I still loved it. So that's what I was doing. Unfortunately, with the restaurant business, I had a business partner. We didn't see eye to eye on certain things, and I decided to sell out to him. Sold out to him, and then I started doing some consulting and stuff. I was traveling around doing consulting and loved it. Loved helping people out in the business. The business is tough, man.
It is.
So anytime you can help each other or lend a helping hand, I'm all for it. I think it's very good to be collaborative and and talk shop a lot. And then the hard part with that was I was a one man team. So while I was entrenched in doing my consulting, I wasn't selling the next gig.
It's hard to, yeah.
It's hard to sell the next gig, and then ironically, my ex wife said something about going to work with me and selling the gigs and me doing the gigs. And that point, I was like, I should find something else to do. And so I went into food distribution. I called one of my old reps and said, "Hey, what was it like working for your boss?" He told me if I ever wanted a job, he'd hire me. And he said, "Wait, you're getting into food sales?" And I said, "Think about it." And he goes, "Let me call you right back." And phone rang about 10 minutes later. And he said, "I'm working with PFG now, and my boss will be here." That was on a Sunday afternoon. He said, "My boss will be here Tuesday to talk to you if you're serious."
That was
And
easy.
the rest is history, man.
So you didn't struggle to transition into your next thing.
No, it is different, obviously, and you leave something like the kitchen was my safe haven. I knew everything about the kitchen, right? I knew how the equipment worked. I knew how everything I was making, all my stuff. So I went from that to obviously I had to learn some different traits and some different things. And I'll be honest with you, I learned how to bite my tongue a little bit. I mean, you go from a locker room to a kitchen, you kind of say whatever pops into your head.
Kitchen
Can't say
talk.
that in corporate America, man.
Not even in the test kitchen, huh?
No, no, there's no safe haven. There's big brothers everywhere. So, but that was a learning curve, and then just the amount I'm on computers and stuff. It was a little more of a learning curve. But yeah, I went into sales. I started as a sales rep for PFG, opening the Pittsburgh market for them. I was the third sales rep they hired in the market, and fast forward, PFG bought Reinhardt in 2020, a couple months before the world shut down. And they called me up. My book of business was 90+% pizza and Italian. I learned with PFG, I learned about Roma foods, and I was like a moth to a light, man. And that was my thing. I liked the guys. I liked the story and the history of the brand, and the fact that the family was still involved in it. Like all those things sung to my heart. So I navigated that. So they asked me to come in as a pizza Italian specialist. I gladly did so. And then I became a brands manager. Then I became a specialty segment specialist. Then I've had like 7 title changes. I think it's 6 or 7. So it's now I'm a lead brands manager. I have a small team of specialists that work underneath me and do a really great job. We've been fortunate. Pittsburgh's one of the over the past 3 years has been the largest growing opco in the country for us, and we've been having fun, man. It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun.
Very nice. And there's a lot of buzz around pizza scene in Pittsburgh. I see a lot of my favorite guys, not just, content creators, but just good dudes in general,
Yeah,
really doing their thing in Pittsburgh. So gotta be something going right over there.
yeah. I moved here in 2011. I got married and got divorced and stayed. I mean, there's a lot of good people here. So remarried now. Did
Congratulations.
better. Did better. It's just over a year now. But yeah, things are going great, and there's a lot of great guys. Like, it's funny because one of the things that people have like, "Oh, you should do like the One Bite app and rate people. People would follow you." Da da da. I'm like, I can't do that. Like, I s- I either sell these guys stuff or I want to sell these guys stuff. I can't criticize their pizza. Like, that's not part of what I
Yeah,
got going on
that's
for my
very,
game.
very counterproductive to the
Yeah,
process.
but there's guys out there that, obviously I love promoting the people we sell and stuff, but there's guys out there I don't sell that I've been trying to sell for 7 or 8 years. Great pie, great people. I love them. Anthony Badamo from Badamo's Pizza, like that cat's great.
Yeah,
Won't buy off of me.
he ain't doing it.
Nope, he's had his stuff set. He's good, and I respect him. I mean, his manager, my wife used to babysit his manager. Like, you know what I mean? Like we're tight with these
Like,
people.
dude, come on, I know you. You know me.
Yeah, yeah. I'll take them out, buy them dinner, and like, hey, if anything ever changes, let me know. You never know what the future holds.
Well,
You know?
I think that's more so what business is about than the actual transacting of businesses. How do we build and maintain relationships? Because who knows what happens a year from now or 2 years from now or any of that. You
Yeah,
remember the people who you have a good relationship with.
for sure.
How did you so, in developing your career on the sales side, what did you find was like as an operator, you almost not you don't hate the sales guys, but you're not like
Oh,
let me find a sales guy to come in
time
here
out.
and talk to me today.
I was that owner operator that a sales rep could walk up and ask the bartender if the owner or manager was there, and they would turn and look at me, and I would say, "I'm not here.
I'm not here.
I'm not here." Right in front of them. Like I hated sales reps. I really did. So I don't have like I'm not going to go in and pitch people, and like I don't have the what they call it, the elevator pitch or the
Yeah.
the 60. I don't do any of that stuff, man. I walk in and I want to learn about your business. Like what can you do? And then the next thing is can I add value to your business and can you add value to mine? Like neither one of us work for a nonprofit. Like it is what it is. Like, here are my price. Here's my pricing. Here's my things. Here's where I think I can help you. And if I can't, one of the only things that like I said, restaurant business is really, really tough business.
Yeah,
As
very
an
competitive.
owner, the one thing that you can hang your hat on is you make final decision, right? I'm never going to be there when you do pay your payroll taxes. Not going to be there. So it's up to you to decide what's best for your business. I'm just going to say if I can be a part of it, great. If not, here's my card. If anything changes, let me know.
I mean, you never want to trust a guy that says he can solve all your problems, right? Like
Uh,
I can do everything that you need. We can do it all. But on the other hand, we're probably as operators missing opportunities by closing the door on some of these conversations or learning something from a person who's seen it from a different perspective, or maybe he's working with one of our competitors and they know about products we don't use. Like how do you continuously reapproach that conversation when someone is you can help them and it's like, dude, come on, man, let's just talk.
well, my biggest thing, and you kind of touched on it already, is communication, right? So when I'm talking to you, it's like, all right, so how much communication have you had with your purveyor, your distributor? Like, right now is if you're using a bleached and bromated flour in Pennsylvania, has anybody had a conversation with you about that? What that looks like in the future? That's going away. They doing unbleached unbromated flour. Ardent Mills in August is going to stop adding bleach and bromate into their flour. Some of our people are using that, and their distributor hasn't even said anything to them about it. And I'm like, you got to talk about it. What's the difference? Is you're going to take longer for fermentation to get the same rise, or you're going to need to use a different yeast that has a relaxer in it. Like you got to have those conversations with people.
Yeah. Well, you touched on it. It was going to be one of my later questions about, all the news around bleach and bromated flour. From a distributor standpoint, how does that affect your business? Other than having to stock different products, it sounds like you're already trying to have the conversations and preparing your customers for what's due to come.
Yeah, I mean, I I think we're a few years behind where I thought we were going to go with unbleached unbromated because of the pandemic. I think pushed a lot of things. People put a lot of things on the side burner, right? When you look at over 160 countries have outlawed bromate, and for decades now that started. So I've always had that right on the back burner, and I've already had a lot of people transition over to unbleached unbromated. So it that hasn't been an issue really. It's really about coaching the what's different about the flour. And really, the color might be a little bit off, but to the average the novice eye, they're not gonna notice it. It's really about how fast that dough will rise. That's the biggest difference. So yeah, we've already got a whole line that we unbleached, unbromated only in that whole line.
Yeah, I guess that was really where I was going to go next. Is how do you decide which products you guys are gonna carry, or if that's even your decision to make? How do you decide what to carry, what to import? What are customers asking you for?
Yeah, so I work a lot with purchasing. As a matter of fact, my next 2 days, that's all I'm doing is working with our purchasing team on some new items we're bringing in. I found a really cool imported buffalo milk stracciatella. I'm really excited about. So, but yeah, with as far as the flours and stuff like that, it's the twofold that you don't think of. I want to try to simplify it as much as possible for our sales force. So our sales force can give you information pretty easily, right? We have like branded products. When you talk about the unbranded products, it's pretty easy, right? Whether it's Pillsbury or General Mills, Ultra, or blah blah blah. You know what those things are. So it's the stuff, the ancillary things like our private brands, which are all packed by major players,
One
right?
of the big guys, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, well, in that, what do you do? So in ours, we have our Roma brands, we have our Villa Frazzoni brands, our Culinary Secret, our Acidity. To me, it was really simple. Take the Roma brands, and in August, several of those are made by Ardent Mills, which is going to go unbleached, unbromated. So I just took the rest of them and said, those are all going to be unbleached, unbromated August 1st.
There it is.
And then the other side of it, you can still get bleached and bromated. That's going to be in our Villa Fazzoni and our Culinary Secrets. That way, there's a clear message. It's a clear, do you want 13% protein? Do you want 14% protein? Do you want bleached and bromated? Do you want unbleached and unbromated? And then it's easy to go to the right path.
Is that something that's going to be available nationwide, or is that starting in Pittsburgh? And
So our opcos are individual operating companies. Everything has guardrails, but inside those guardrails, we all act as our own companies. So my products mix is completely different than Tampa's. Then I do know a couple people down there though. If you need to make some phone calls and get some stuff down there,
we'll talk offline. I deal with the guys in Orlando, so yeah.
Okay,
we'll talk about the best path to get to do some of these things.
But yeah, there's some really cool stuff. Yeah, it's a little bit different. That said, I mean, there's a lot of flour carried across the country. Like everybody's selling flour.
Yeah.
It's a cheese mix that gets a little bit different because I'm in a market where you're more likely to see two different provolone blends blended together on a pizza than you are to see straight mozzarella.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's a provolone market. So it's all like Mott's Prove is primarily what it is. But I'm more surprised to see straight Mott's than I am surprised to see straight Prove. There's a lot of people that do straight Prove.
Really? That's pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But your mozzarella still come in like Wisconsin,
Wisconsin
Denver.
And California are king.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
What do operators, when you're talking to folks, what are they really getting wrong? Like when it comes to product choice, or everyone develops their brand and they want to be best, and we want to have the highest quality. Everyone wants to say, hey, we're selling the best ingredients. But then they have to go back to someone like you and have the conversation about what we need to bring in, what we need to offer. Like, how are you advising them on that, on taking the best route there?
I'll say that I got to word this so I don't get in trouble with that.
Well, I only say that because everyone says that, but in reality, it feels like we're all using the same shit.
So it's funny, like I said, certain things like our stuff is packed, like I said, by one of the major players. Most of those other places are too, right? When you talk about tomato products, I'm going to blanket statements this. If you're buying tomato products out of California, they're all great. And the same, I've been out there, I've been on a tomato picker and rode it through the fields. Those farmers, I talked to them, they grow for all of the Packers, PCP, Escalon, Stanislaus. They grow and sell to all of those. Now, my question as soon as I found that out was, which one's the hardest one? Like who do you have the hardest time giving product to because they're really picky about what it is, right? So that's what I wanted to know.
It's
It's not,
who has the tightest standards around the products they're taking.
there it is. So that's what I wanted to know. And then people ride the what's hot and what's this and Pinza and hydration and like all the catchphrase words and stuff like that. And at the end of the day, I mean, I can make a pizza with a 58% or a 65% or a 70% hydration. And depending on what I do with the dough, it's hard for you to tell the difference now. To me, I think we spend too much time on this is somebody that sells food for a living tell you this. I feel like sometimes we spend too much time looking at all these products and all these things when we really should be teaching the technique. I think that's the biggest
100% agree.
problem with the new. You get young people in working in these pizza shops and they don't have the techniques down pat and don't do the right thing. And that to me is a bigger problem than if you use a PCP tomato or a Stanislaus tomato or a Escalon, whoever. The average American won't be able to tell. Don't go to dinner with me because I pull apart every single item in a pizza. But the average American doesn't care. They want consistent food more than they want great food. So teaching the technique, I think, is more important than anything.
More important than which product you choose, because there's where you get more control. I understand that. What do you advise folks that want to compare products? I remember that too from my days from dealing with sales rep was, hey, listen, what's your cheese this week? What's your sauce this week? What's your tomatoes this week? Which we've seen a lot of tomatoes going crazy. How do you guys handle that from your side of it? How are you continuing to protect your own margins while trying to give the best possible price and sell it?
Yeah, so I'm really lucky with where I work. Like I said, our operating company is different within my work, but we're pretty transparent. We're pretty, here's what it costs. Here's what your markup is. Do you want a percentage markup or do you want a flat markup? Here's what it's going to be. Here's what it's going to look like. We want to keep growing. We don't want to nickel and dime you to death. We want to keep growing. It's not like that everywhere. So I'm pretty lucky in that means. But to me, it's always a good product at a fair price. I mean, it's in our mission statement. You know what I mean? It is, and we see the industry going more towards forcing computer orders, forcing this, not seeing or talking to actual people that often. And our old CEO a few years ago was doubling down on it. Like, we're hiring 2,700 more sales rep. We want more people on the street. The personal aspect of it is not going to go away. So having that relationship with your sales rep, I mean, it's invaluable. People buy from people, not companies.
Yeah. I think there's a place for some of the tools and obviously the PFG as a company is taking some steps to offer more tools and support on the back end. New order platform. I've been kind of playing around with the food cost and recipe builder on that side of things. So how do you then through that relationship encourage folks to use some of the tools and some of the things that can also help you save some money or improve your processes? Because I think we forget that this relationship is more partnership than vendor client.
Yeah, for sure. It's funny. I always, when I was a sales rep, the first thing I said is, I want to be a partner of yours. I specialize in procurement. That's it. I'm here to get you the products you need. And I look at it too, like when you talk about like not wanting to talk to another salesman, not wanting to look at it, and you're not looking at different things. You'd stop at a different grocery store driving down the street. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? Like, oh, a new grocery store opened. Let me see what they got. I've used that analogy so many different times. It's crazy. Like, and also if you kept stopping and you always bought milk, bread, and eggs, and I use this analogy with our procurement team a few years ago. I said, if you stopped at the grocery store and you always got milk, bread, and eggs every Monday for the week, and the same grocery store kept being out of bread, would you keep stopping at another grocery store to get bread, or would you go to another grocery store and get milk, bread, and eggs?
Exactly.
You gotta make sure you have everything in stock. But no, I might get your opco in trouble here. We actually have customer engagement managers. So each district of salespeople has a customer engagement manager. They normally have a couple different districts, but they go in and they will help you set up sheet to shelf inventories, help you do cost analysis on your top 10 selling items. They actually can help with if you use a partnered uh, like a sales platform, they can help if there's any tie-in with that. They can help you with all those kind of things. So like I said, I'm blessed in Pittsburgh, man. We got some pretty cool stuff going on.
Yeah, we're
Uh,
gonna talk.
but it's pretty great. And listen, man, we're right now, knock on wood, we got a couple months left to go, but this is third straight year we're leading in independent case growth in the country. So it's
Numbers don't lie.
Maryland's knocking on our doorstep, though. I don't want to talk too much. Chef John will get mad over there.
What's your advice when folks start to request a bunch of samples? I'm like a sample guy. I'm always like, well, I want to try it before we move on to.
You can't. I mean, so there's twofold, right? There's certain commodity items that it's hard with, so it is difficult. But you have to try it to sell it. You're not going to sell something to a customer you haven't tried. So to me, you have to sample it. You have to, if it's a really expensive item or it's a hard to sample item, sometimes we'll cryovac them ourselves. We have the machines to do it in house in our test kitchen, or we'll you know do sealed jars of different things. We have like
Okay.
little 8-ounce sample jars. But for the most part, it's just all right. You need a gallon of garlic aioli. Send them a gallon of garlic aioli. Let them try it. Right. If there's anything that's like a case of chicken, that's hard to kind of.
Like you need to sample a case of wings, really?
I guess some people are really picky or whatever. So it's a guaranteed case sale. I guarantee the sale. If you don't like it, tell me. We'll come pick it up and throw it in a dumpster or donate it or do whatever. You know what I mean? But that's either guaranteed case sale, worst case scenario. But yeah, you should sample the products that you want to sell.
What's your Who's your ideal customer?
A custom Anthony Badamo, and I'll tell you why.
Come
A
on,
cus-
Anthony.
a customer that's hard to get is worth getting because they're loyal. They're built relationships and they do those things, and that's what we're doing. And to get somebody else that reciprocates that, normally the harder ones to get are worth getting. And I say it jokingly with Anthony's, but that's been my. If somebody, when you walk in the door and you walk up and say, "Hey, I'm Brandon with PFG," like, "Oh yeah, I've heard a lot about you. Let me fill out a form. Like I want to start buying some stuff from you next week." Red flags. You know what I mean? It's got to be tell me more about your business. Let's go back and forth. Like it has to be a building process. Like I keep telling everybody when you get into sales or whatever, it's a lot like baseball. You know what I mean? If you fail 2 out of 3 times, you go to the Hall of Fame.
You're doing okay.
You get a lot of no's in this business. So yeah, I want somebody that knows their stuff, that's inquisitive, and is I don't want to say a tough sell, but not an easy sell.
Yeah. How does the recent news with Restaurant Depot, being acquired, change your model in business, especially with given the rise of just independent restaurants and pizzerias in general?
It really doesn't.
Okay.
Uh, so, s- it, it- if anything, there may be some people that have been Restaurant Depot people for a long time that don't like the fact that Cisco bought them and may open up. But I don't know that it's going to be a big change or a big
Yeah.
swing one way or the other.
When you guys are prospecting new potential business, how much effort is, really put into the independent operator. In my mind, and I've worked with a lot of independents, there's almost this hesitation to work with a distributor because they feel like, oh, we're not going to get the best price, we're too small, or they can't get, I need specialty products. I'm only doing, tomatoes sourced in South Tampa behind the bridge. So it's like, how do you go after business like that? Or is that business that is, that you wait to come to you?
No, no, that's we go knock on doors, man. I don't know if you're aware of this, but Performance Food Service is not the largest distributor in the US. They are the largest distributor of independent pizza and Italian in the US.
Believe it.
So, and have a larger percentage of that market than any distributor has of any market. Yeah, so it's a big number. It's around 35%. So that's something we like, we go knock on those independents. That's our business model is independent restaurant, mom and pop shops. Like that's our bread and butter. And but I'll tell you what, we were new to Pittsburgh. We started shipping here in 2011 and out of Richmond, Virginia, which if you have a map, it doesn't make any sense. But we were
Well, they
shuttling
were like a hub for you guys though, at that
they were
point.
shuttling up to Morgantown. We were picking up at Morgantown, and that's where it was getting delivered.
Yeah, a lot of bosses in Richmond too.
Yes, yes, there are. But yeah, so there's that independent and growth in Pittsburgh was the hardest part. Was like there's a couple of independent distributors here in Pittsburgh. PenMac, which ended up getting purchased by Greco, which Greco ended up getting purchased by Cisco. That's been a whole thing. And then Nappies is another local distributor up here, Aldo's. So there's like some local ones. Aldo's is more Greek, but does do some Italian. But when we first got here, it was you can't get specialty products, you can't get this provolone, you can't get this, you can't do that. And I'm not lying to you. I've walked in and hey, I'm not interested in this. And I said, I'm not here to try to win you over or whatever. I just want you to know you told your salesman he was lying to you when he told you had this provolone. I just wanted to drop a log of it off so he wasn't lying. I'll see you later. You know what I mean? Like that was it. I just want you to know we're not out here lying. We're not here. I had a sales rep from another distributor tell people that we were selling knockoff all trumps. I'm like, so you're telling me one of the largest flour mills and General Mills is selling to one of the largest distributors in the US and they're getting knockoff products behind their back? Like I don't know. It's just so weird. So
Like
there's some
we would risk that relationship.
yeah, yeah, there's some grimy stuff. Now and there is like there's some getting the product mix right when I came over in my role now has been a constant evolution and movement and trying to source some different things like you know we were a little lacking and we didn't have much truffle stuff to offer. Man, when I got there, like they were only selling a couple thousand in pizza Italian a week in 2020. We're selling over 30,000 cases a week. It like they didn't have a burrata. You know what I mean? I was like, yeah, you got to have a burrata, man. So there's been an evolution of doing it. So it's a constant change on our part. But yeah, like if you don't have what they got, you got to figure out how to source it, right?
Well,
If you want something, I got to figure out how to get it for you.
what's the best way for an operator to have that conversation with their sales rep? Is it, just, hey, find me this product, or is it find me a product like this that can work for my business?
Well, it depends on the product, right? There's certain products that you just won't deviate from, right? If it's a signature thing that you do, you just won't deviate from it, and that's fine. And then also, I always I have to gain your trust in our brands and our products through stuff that is non-emotional and I know are really good, like matches or fairly really really similar, so that that I'm not going to pull the wool over your eyes. I'm not trying to pull a fast one, right? But yeah, you got to have that conversation. Like if it's something like even if you want to be able to buy it at both. If you have two distributors, you want to be able to buy it at both. You kind of have to have that.
It
Hey,
has to be the same one. Yeah.
if I get in this pinch, or if I buy it from you, or what would your price be on this? Can you source it? That's an easy question to ask. They should send that off, to whether it's a pizza Italian specialist, whether it's a buyer, and say, hey, what does it look like? Because a lot of times it's easily sourced. Like where you're at, there's a buyer down there that helps with all three of our Florida locations. And now there's more in the Cheney brother line of command. Like we can find the product, I'm sure.
That's interesting because things are changing so fast, and with social media blowing up and all these competitions popping up, all over the country and all over the world now. There's always this search and this hunt for what's next, right? What's the next hot
Hmm.
topping? What's the next, combination? What's the next sauce or drizzle or whatever that may be? And then that subsequently creates the problem of how do I get it? Uh, I've seen forums on with guys that are ordering products from Amazon and paying ridiculous prices just to get it in. So it's interesting that you can have that conversation with your salesperson or with whoever your rep is if you're working with a company like. And we're not making this I love PFG, even though I'm a PFG customer. It's great to be able to have those conversations.
Yeah, and listen, like I said, every opco is different in our world, and when I was restaurateur, I bought from U.S. Foods. You know what I mean? Like it is what it is. Like you got to find somebody that works for you. There's enough for everybody to eat. Like, do I think our company does it pretty well? I do. But agree with you, man. There's different strokes for different folks, for sure.
What's next? Like, what are you seeing from your position? Like, what's on the horizon with pizza? Like, what's the next trend, if you will?
So, there's a trend that has been out there just in restaurant business in general, is more and more Asian flair. Man, I've been having some fun putting some Asian stuff on pizza.
Like what?
Like kimchi. I've made a General Tso's chicken pizza that went really well with some, garlic chicken. General Tso's sauce is the base. Little sesame seeds on top of the mozzarella, and then finish it with some green onions. Just, some fun stuff like that. But I also think, honey was the last one I really think went mainstream. So I think Calabria chilies make a lot of sense too.
Yeah, I've only tried once. Actually got a sample at a show and made a couple of pies. Great flavor, great taste,
Hmm.
great texture on that pepper. So maybe I hope so. Hot honey is it is it here to stay or is it done?
No, man, it's here to stay.
It's
I
here
think
to
it's here to
stay.
stay.
I mean, we're actually seeing more brands pop up on the heels of Mike's Hot Honey,
Hmm.
including folks that are trying to make their own.
Yep. Yeah, I see that a lot too. Organic, I've seen now, like try to do like an organic acacia honey and some of that kind of stuff. It's interesting.
How does your company decide which products you want to put your name on or one of your
That's a good question. So there's a big team that does, at our corporate level, that also work with some of our people at operating levels. I actually work a lot with the Roma guys and do testing for them and stuff. I did cutting on Friday last week. Um, I did cutting with desserts. I've done cuttings recently with new pinzas. I've done cuttings with um, some appetizers and stuff from Italy. We go to food shows all over the world. I went to a food show in January over in Rimini, Italy, and looked at some things, and we're working on getting our distributor or importer to import some stuff. And quite a few of those things will probably go in brands. But yeah, it runs up the chain. There's a big team there. They do a lot of testing. We actually, one of the cool things that we've done, because it's a big corporation. It can be a lot of hurdles to get through, and artwork being one of them. Most people don't think of, and this, that, and the
can
other.
imagine.
So they started this idea. They started Performance in Motion. So that's actually one of our brands that's just in a plain box with a sticker on it. That hey, we're going to try this out. We think it's going to be great, Brandon. We're going to put it out there under our brands, Performance and Motion brand. And then we just had a shrimp that was in that transferred over, I think, into our world dock. So there's a lot of things where they've made it try to make it as nimble as possible.
Yeah.
For us to be able to
But
try.
it sounds like even a product still has to prove itself in a newer brand or a lesser known brand before you move to one of the well known
It
names.
doesn't have to. It doesn't have to.
Okay.
It's just available there, right? If it's
Yeah.
a question, or if they want to get it out, like, hey, this is time sensitive. Let's get this out now because this is going to be a new hot thing. We want to have ours out first. So they'll throw it out there like that. But or in the case of the shrimp, they wanted to have it in brands before Lent came, right? So they threw it in brands.
What's the fastest way to get it? Yeah.
Yeah, threw it in brand before Lent came. And then once they had the artwork done and the rest of the pieces, it moved over into that other brand. So there's different reasons for that. But I mean, you're talking about a $60 billion company that corporate still tries to work with boots on the ground. Like, all right, you think that's going to work? Let's take a look at it. Hey, you think that's going to work? Let's take a look at it. Let's ship it to these 6 different opcos and have everybody, do a cutting with it, take their notes, send them all back. Let's see what you think. We're going to cut it here at corporate too. Like it's cool that they do that. They don't, a lot of bigger companies don't act like that.
No, this is what we're doing in the discussion.
Yeah.
In your business, I also know that shelf space is a premium, right? Warehouse space, shelf space, products have to move. Have you ever been in a situation where you made a call on a product and it didn't go and you had to bite the bullet and either waste it out or, send it off to a customer, anything like that? Any of those situations that have ever come up in your time?
Yes. I have one that sticks out in my mind because I brought it in for a customer. They never brought it in. They changed their mind. And then once it was gone, they decided they wanted it back. It was a fully done dough mix instead of flour or yeast. It was all done. So all you had to do was add water to it and go. I dumped 700 pounds of it. It haunts me in my sleep.
Yeah, I on the customer side, I've done it too. We had this idea. I don't know. We came out of a meeting thinking about ciabatta sandwiches, and somehow got PFG to bring in like I don't know 100 cases or something for us, and we never did it. We never even developed a product. So next thing you know, it's like 8 months later, we're reaching shelf life on it or expiration or whatever it was, and it's like, what are we doing?
Oops.
What are we doing here? I'm like, oh, well, if you guys can split the cost with me, we'll do it. And we just donated it to a food bank here. They did work with us.
Yeah.
We all kind of took a little bit of a loss on this. So unfortunate situations happen.
I do a pretty good job of getting rid of it or selling stuff off. Or like if I have a plan, if I have an idea and I bring it in, like to me, that comes with a lot of weight. Like I take responsibility of that item. So I get behind it and try to sell it. I also go out and see customers. I don't sit in an office all day. I do trainings for our sales force. I see customers. I do a lot of different things. So I can help move the needle, so to speak, a little bit with certain things. And I know a good amount of people, like as far as what customers might be interested in certain items. I mean, that said, there's 3 things that on Wednesday I'm going to pull the plug on.
Yeah. You ever have to just tell a customer, no, I don't think there's something we can get, or not that we can't, but just that it just doesn't work for us right now.
I can't get that one. We have this one. Will it work for you? And it doesn't work. One of those actually we're probably remedying as we speak right now, but a year later, because I just didn't have access to what they were looking for, and I couldn't buy it correctly because it was, we were already selling a different brand. So to buy, I had to buy 3 pallets of one thing. So I just couldn't do it. It wasn't going to take enough. I didn't have enough sales to do both of them. So you just gotta, I just kept it in the back of my mind, and then something became available, and I was able to snatch it, and now we're getting that business back. But yeah, there's a lot of times like our warehouse was completely full when I started. We doubled the size of the warehouse with a $30 million expansion, and we're full again.
So space matters
So space
a
matters.
lot.
So it's just like, if your shop is only has so much refrigerator, freezer space, yada yada yada, like you got to make your menu accordingly. You have to get your deliveries accordingly. Like, a lot of people may want, 1 day a week delivery and need two because they can't fit all the product they need for the weekend on a Tuesday delivery. It's one of those weird things.
Tough business. I always sympathize with your side of it because it's more than just selling us the products. Well, it's maintaining the quality of the products. You have to, all the logistics behind delivering and delivering on time and delivering right, and things have to be picked correctly. You guys ever feel like, man, they should give us a little bit of a break on some of these things, or do you hold yourself to a higher standard?
Me? No, you don't have to give me a break on anything. Tyrell, I have one of the easiest jobs in the world. I get to play with food every day. I love it. In this equation, your job is really hard. The driver's job is really hard. The night pick job is really hard. My job is fine. My job is a cupcake compared to those things. I've done some of them. I've been on trucks and done deliveries with guys. I've been in your shoes and ran restaurants. Listen, if you want to give me a little guff over something happening or something, they put, a case of cheese on top of a case of produce. Things happen. I'll
Things
take care of
happen.
it. If you need to vent, go ahead. My
Well,
apologies. We'll take care of it.
well, yeah. Well, I just know I've been on some of those conversations, and you just need somebody to take it out on it, but it's not always fair, right? So
Life's
for
not fair.
for all of the other pizza guys out there, I'm just gonna say, look, man, we weren't thinking clearly in the moment.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because on the sales side of things, we joke is like, that one customer that always has something go wrong. Yeah, that's this customer. And it's not like we're saying they make things up. It's for some reason it seems like
It always finds you.
the problems will stick with one person for like a 6 month period. Like a driver may only make 5 mistakes in 6 months. All five of them went to the same
With
spot.
that same,
Uh,
same one.
a a picker's gonna make a mistake. That same one. It's like every sales rep has like a rotating who's getting bad picks or bad service, and it always rotates. So so last week we delivered almost 240,000 cases of groceries. So you think about if 1% of those is off, 1% is 2,400 things went wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a lot. You know what I
In the
mean?
grand scheme of things, it's a lot, and it's like when you're the one of 2,400, you're like,
And you have to operate your business. Like I need that product to get through my week.
I
It
can't
affects
even.
you more than it does any of us. And we know that, you know what I mean? And that's to me, there's always going to be issues. If you're at a 98% or above fulfillment rate without issue, you're doing great in this industry. So that means you're going to have at 98%, you're going to have 5,000 things to fix. How do you fix them? You know what I mean? That's the difference between a good distributor and a great distributor.
You also work, you obviously work with operators at every different level, whether they're just getting started or they're very seasoned or, just kind of finding their way but doing okay. There's a difference between good operators and great operators. What are the best ones doing differently?
Always learning, questioning things. That's the biggest difference, especially in tenured operators. So in tenured operators, you have two different operators, and you can put almost everybody in one of two. Oh, what's that? Oh, have you ever seen this? Have you ever tried that? Have you ever done this? No, this is the way I've done it for 60 years. We're never changing. We're doing this. We're doing that. Both of those sides can make money. I mean, there is an avenue for both those to be somewhat successful. But I always find that the people that do change a little bit with the times do change here and there. Like you still have your base. Just because you're trying something new doesn't mean that you alienate what made your success in the beginning. Those people I think tend to be a little bit more elevated.
Little healthy curiosity.
Yep, it's a great way to put it.
I
Healthy
love it.
curiosity.
If you were gonna start a pizzeria, what would you do right now in 2026 or 2027? We'll give it 2027 because you need a little time to plan. But what would that look like for you?
Uh, well, we were talking a little bit backstage, and it got some Michigan stuff here. I
Go
would
blue.
say I would probably buy an edge oven and about, I don't know, 200 Lloyd's pans and make Detroit style pizza.
Heard that. Call my guy George for your
Yeah.
edge oven. That's my buddy. He's gonna love that. Detroit style pizza
Yep. That's what I would do.
built for production.
Yeah. I love the story behind it. My dad worked for Ford Motor Company for 33 years. So the story behind how it started, how Detroit pizza started is fascinating to me. And then I find that most people do it the same way they're doing their New York style. They just let the dough blow up and then put it in that pan. And I think there's a better way of doing it, man. I don't think it needs 14% protein. I prefer it around 12 and a half, 12.7, more of a patent level. And yeah, if you treat it right, I think it turns out really great. And I think it's a good, easier way to, there's less Detroit pizza in every market that I've been in outside of Detroit than any other style pizza for the most part. And I feel like the ones that are there, you can differentiate yourself very easily from because they tend to be heavy and overchefed.
Yeah, I would say if you're just blowing up New York style and you're just selling dense, super dense pizza,
Super dense.
and it's not look, and I tried it doing it that same exact way because I didn't want to do a separate dough, and it just wasn't. You end up with a small pizza that feels like it was a large.
Yeah, that's it. Very heavy stuff for
Yeah,
sure. But yeah, that'd be the ticket, man. And I know how they come out because listen, I love deck ovens, my favorite to cook in, but hardest to make a living in because you have to have talented like pizza chefs. Well, you make wood fired oven, completely different animal. I'll leave that
never.
out there.
I
I,
couldn't. I could.
so so we have the AVPN certified Roma regional for us that has a wood fired oven in his backyard, and he uses his like inside oven to cook pizzas in with a 1 inch stone
Yeah.
because he what do you want to go out there and stoke a fire for hours for to make like six pizzas for your family? Like, come on, man.
That's why I don't smoke meats either. It's like, dude, I can't do it.
See, I grew. That's how I grew up in the business was like we would do smoked meats and barbecues and da 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 da. That was my my third job. He did a huge caterings, 2,500 people for REO Speedwagon and blah 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 blah.
Nice.
So I did a lot of that stuff. Now all my friends are like, oh, I'm making competition style barbecue. And I was like, I have a pellet smoker that's hooked to my Wi-Fi that I can turn down from the golf course. Like, I'm not trying to impress anybody. I just want to eat some pulled pork.
Yeah. I think there's something to be said about getting things done, but getting things done right too, right? And
Yeah.
sometimes the long way or the old way is the best way to do it, and sometimes there's new ways. There's
And
new technology.
so much stuff has come so far. Like, I'm not going to throw brands out there and throw people under the bus, but, those impinger ovens or conveyor ovens 20 years ago, I mean, it made the same pizza all the time. There was no, it just, you couldn't do anything different with it. Now, you can kind of say, "Hey, this is style I want," and they dial that thing in, and it's cooks completely different from person to person, place to place. I've been very impressed with that. A lot like I've been impressed with some of the labor saver items or like partially produced products or produced products. Some of those things, all that stuff was institutional BS years ago. Now there's products out there that are really craftily made. So there are some really great, like we have a meatball company that we work with. They do some great meatballs, man. Like I have a hard time making them that good. So
Yeah.
but they're just items like that and all the different equipment and stuff, it's just come so far since the past 15, 20 years.
Well, I would love to pick your brain more on some of those things. I mean, just thinking about pizza, what do we do? It's flour, it's sauce, it's cheese, and it's proteins. We're always trying to find the right balance between quality and profit. So where does that fall in those items? Do we need to cut our own pepperoni, or can we find something that works for us? Do we need to hand roll meatballs, or can you find a product that is just as good, that gets the job done and actually makes you a little bit of money? So but those are the conversations to have. How does someone have that conversation with you if they're in your market, or someone from your team?
Well, normally it starts with like we trying to find out where the pain points are for the operator, right? Is your food cost a problem right now? Is your labor, which we hear a ton right now? Labor's an issue. Is it ease of preparation, quality of product? Like what in each, and it's not the same from product to product or from item to item, right? Like, hey, I have this one, the meatballs are taking up way too much time in prep and I don't have enough staff to do them. Can we look at a viable option there? Like, or is there another like high, like a high prep item that you're spending a lot of hours on that we can look at too? So there's those kind of questions that normally go back and forth. Then it's all right. So now let's find a solution for the problem.
Brandon, this has been really good, man. You obviously have some deep roots in the pizza and Italian food game, and you're doing some great things over there in Pittsburgh. I had it in my notes to say something about Michigan, just because
Go blue.
that's just our thing. Go blue. Prediction for this year, football. What do you think?
Oh, man, you don't want to hear it from me.
What do you,
I think it's a 4-loss year, man.
Tough year.
I think it's a 4-loss year.
That's a tough year.
Yeah, we got a tough schedule. Improving with what we got going on. I'm hearing good things on the ground about the offensive line and stuff. If the offensive line is right, we can run the ball control, playing scrimmage. Maybe we can get it down to 2 losses, but we're going to lose a couple games. Luckily, some of those big games are at home. We have Oregon, we have Penn State, Oklahoma at home. We have Indiana at home. We're on the road at Ohio State. We have Michigan State at home. I know they've had a couple down years, but they just hired a really good coach, and that rivalry game is always tough. So
look, I'm from Lansing, and as long as we beat Michigan State, things are up for me.
It's a good year if you beat Michigan State. A great year if you do something else, right?
That's right. Thank you so much again just for coming on and talking shop with us. You also host your own podcast. Please drop that and let listeners know where to find you and listen to some sports talk and some of the other things you have going on.
Yeah, I along with being a Michigan fan, I'm just a Bengals fan, which is
wild.
Wild. It's also like you're putting yourself in a torture chamber. But yeah, I Running Through the Jungle is my podcast and my channel. I got on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever you podcast, all those kind of things. And I'm also on the Steel Curtain Network through the Fans First Sport Network. We do the Homies AFC North Roundtable, and that one's a wild one. It's a lot of fun. Me and just a couple of the fellas talking trash about our football teams on Friday night. We dive into some good in-depth stuff. But yeah, and then on the Running Through the Jungle podcast, I'd say my favorite thing that I do all year is I do me and my buddy Pay Saunders do what we call pay dirt, and it's our NFL and college football gambling predictions. So we do those throughout the year. We're about 60% wins over the past 3 years. So
That's good.
yeah,
That's as good as you could ask for when it comes
yeah,
to sports betting.
yeah. It's been good. I took the wife on a vacation this year because of it. She enjoyed it.
That means you can keep doing it.
That's right. That's right.
Oh man, well again, thanks again. We'll drop all of the links for that in the show notes, and let folks connect with you. We'll drop email if they got questions about food and things that are happening at PFG Roma. But again, thanks so much for just giving us just some insight and education on what those relationships are like between vendor partner and operator. So good stuff.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on. Thanks, Tyrell.
If you've gotten any value out of this episode or any of our other episodes, I need you to do me a favor. Go leave us a review. Every review on Apple, every 5-star rating on Spotify helps this show find more operators just like you and helps them get that same value that you're taking away from this episode. And as a thank you, anytime somebody leaves a review, sends me a screenshot, just DM me a screenshot of your review, I'm going to send you a free gift, something awesome, something cool. I'll send you a gift, whoever leaves a review. That's the challenge. Go leave a review, DM me a screenshot of it, and then I'll get you something. I got you something special from your boy. Now let's get back into the episode. Peace.